For a little while now, people have been asking me to make a video on 7 capital cities which aren't home to a nation or league's most successful club. I put it off for a while, simply because it isn't actually that rare for a nation's most successful club to hail from a city other than the capital, and therefore it wouldn't be that challenging for me to make. I woke up this morning in the mood for something not too challenging though, so those of you who asked for this video are in luck. A few months ago, I made a video looking at 7 big cities that ought to have bigger and better football clubs. That video featured 3 capital cities, so those 3 examples won't feature in today's 7, just so I don't end up repeating myself. I will mention them at the end, along with a whole host of honourable mentions since, as I said, a lot more than 7 nations' most successful clubs don't hail from the capital city. Here are 7 countries/leagues where the capital city doesn't have the most successful team. England. We might as well start this 7 here at home, or where I call home, and that is in England. Despite being a relatively large nation, at least by European standards, in terms of population and GDP, England and the United Kingdom is incredibly reliant on the City of London. London is home to just shy of 9 million people, which is about 16% of the total population of England, and the City of London generates an estimated 22% of the United Kingdom's overall GDP, although I suspect the true figure is even higher. One area of life in which London doesn't dominate within the UK and England has been in sport, and more specifically, for the purposes of this video, football. It took until 1931, a full 43 years after the Football League was founded, for a London club to win the First Division title. That team was Arsenal, who are London's most successful club, followed by Chelsea and then Tottenham Hotspur. The Gunners may rule the roost in terms of London, but nationwide, they have to settle for 3rd place, trailing behind both Liverpool and Manchester United. It has been a strong couple of decades for London clubs since the turn of the millennium in both the league and cup competitions, but they still have some catching up to do, and it is clubs from Manchester and Liverpool once again who look to be the nation's finest right now. Switzerland. Whilst most nations' capital cities are also their most populous cities, there are a few exceptions such as Switzerland, which make it less surprising that their capital city doesn't play host to the nation's most successful club. Switzerland's capital city is Bern, despite the fact that it is only the 4th largest city in Switzerland in terms of population, trailing Zurich, Geneva and Basel. Over the last 2 years, Bern has played host to Switzerland's best team, since Bern-based Young Boys have won back-to-back league titles and they could well make it 3 from 3 this season. Historically, however, Young Boys very much reflect the size of Bern as a city, ranking as the nation's 4th most successful club. Switzerland's long-time most successful team is Grasshopper from Zurich, followed by Basel from, Basel, and Servette from Geneva. Young Boys have won 13 Swiss Super League titles and 6 Swiss Cups, but their 2018 league title was their first trophy since the 1980s. They've got a lot of catching up to do to reach Grasshopper's trophy haul, which includes 27 league titles and 19 Swiss Cups. Israel. Israel's capital city, Jerusalem, is one of the oldest and most culturally significant cities on earth. The city is considered to be holy by 3 of the world's largest religions, and both Israel and the state of Palestine claim Jerusalem as their capital. Jerusalem may be able to lay claim to having been the city in which Jesus Christ was crucified, but it isn't the city which plays host to Israel's most successful football club. So, you win some and you lose some as far as the Jerusalem Tourist Board must be concerned. Jerusalem is the largest city in Israel, with around twice the population of Tel Aviv, but Jerusalem's footballing pedigree is pretty appalling given that fact. Israel's 2 most successful clubs are both based in Tel Aviv, followed by Maccabi Haifa, from the city of Haifa of course, and Hapoel Petach Tikva, based in Israel's 5th largest city, Petach Tikva. Beitar Jerusalem are the capital's most successful club, with just 6 league titles to their name, and global fame for their chant of "Here we are, we're the most racist football club in the country." Jerusalem's footballing scene hasn't covered itself in glory, on or off the pitch, if we're being honest. Luxembourg. Alright, Luxembourg may be a very small nation and not really renowned as a footballing powerhouse, but I don't see why Europe's 7th smallest country doesn't deserve some love from HITC Sevens. In fact, I think Luxembourg are a great candidate for this 7, since like a lot of smaller countries, their capital is the nation's largest town or city by a significant margin. You would think, therefore, that Luxembourg's best football club would hail from the capital, but you would be sorely mistaken. Luxembourg's capital city is called Luxembourg, although it is sometimes referred to as Luxembourg City to avoid confusion. Home to 116,000 of Luxembourg's 613,000 residents, the city is far larger than Luxembourg's second largest city, which is home to only 34,000 people. Nevertheless, it is Jeunesse Esch from Luxembourg's second largest city and F91 Dudelange from the nation's third largest city that have dominated Luxembourg's football scene since the 1950s. The capital's three most successful clubs actually no longer exist, making FC Avenir Bergen, who have just 6 league titles and one of the strangest badges in world football, the capital's most successful current club, somewhere behind Jeunesse Esch, who've won a whopping 28 league titles alone. Australia. I'm aware that there is a fair old Australian contingent who subscribe to HITC Sevens, and since I don't get to mention Australian football very often, I might as well take the chance to do it when it presents itself to me. Australia is a fairly extreme example of a nation in which the largest city isn't the capital city, since Australia's capital Canberra is only actually the 8th largest city in Australia in terms of population. Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, the Gold Coast and Newcastle are all said to have larger populations than Canberra, which is home to 396,000 people, which is just 1.5% of Australia's overall population. No team has really dominated Australia's football scene in either the National Soccer League or the A-League eras, but the two most successful regions have been New South Wales, and Sydney in particular, and Victoria, with the likes of Melbourne Victory, South Melbourne, and the Melbourne Knights. Not only is Canberra, Australia's capital, not home to the nation's most successful club, no team from the city has ever won an Australian League title, and the city doesn't even have an A-League team at the moment, following 2 failed bids. Norway. Since there were plenty of nations who could have featured in this 7, there was a lot of discretion on my part, and that's why I've included Norway, since according to Ancestry DNA, I'm apparently 20% Norwegian. So hello to all of my Norwegian brothers and sisters, but that isn't the only reason I included Norway in this 7, I think they're also a particularly interesting example. Norway's capital is obviously Oslo, and it is by far the nation's largest city. Some 681,000 people live in Oslo from a nation of 5.3 million inhabitants. Meanwhile, Norway's second most populous city of Bergen is home to just 272,000 people. Remarkably, none of Norway's 4 most successful football clubs hail from either of Norway's 2 largest cities. Vålerenga, who are the most successful club from Oslo with 5 league titles and 4 Norwegian Cups, are only Norway's 5th most successful club. Meanwhile, Bergen's biggest club, SK Brann, who have won just 3 league titles and 6 Norwegian Cups, rank as the nation's 7th most successful club in terms of league titles. Rosenborg are by far Norway's most successful club, hailing from the city of Trondheim, with 26 league titles, followed by Fredrikstad, Viking and Lillestrøm. Honourable mentions. It's been a while since I've done the honourable mentions for a video between 1st and 2nd place, so here is some nostalgia for those of you who've been subscribed to the channel for a while. If you're not yet subscribed, well then, there's no time like the present, and if we reach 300,000 subs by the end of the month, I'm going to celebrate by getting a haircut and doing a long overdue video to camera. Anyhow, back on point. The 3 capital cities that featured in my underachieving cities video, and as such didn't feature today, were, and skip this now if you haven't watched that video and still plan to do so, okay? Berlin, Brasilia, and Ankara, so that's why I didn't include Germany, Brazil, or Turkey in today's 7. Other honourable mentions go to the likes of Italy, where the most successful teams hail from Milan and Turin, rather than Rome, France, where Marseille and Saint Etienne have enjoyed more success as cities than Paris, although that will soon change, Sweden, where none of the nation's 3 most successful clubs are based in the capital city of Stockholm, Belarus, where Bate Borisov have won more than twice as many league titles as Dinamo Minsk, and Slovenia, where Maribor have been really dominant since Slovenia gained independence, having won 15 league titles. There are actually many more examples, as well as some more confusing ones where either there is some debate as to whether a team from the capital is the most successful due to the weighting of certain competitions, and how to assess historical achievements, and also capital cities where the teams compete in foreign or separate competitions, such as is the case in New Zealand, Wales, or Canada, thus opening up a really tricky debate as to who is the nation's most successful club. There is still time for one more nation though, so here goes. Scotland. We started this 7 with a so-called home nation, and we end it with a country that is, for now at least, still part of the United Kingdom. Scotland is another country where the most heavily populated city is not the capital city, since Glasgow is Scotland's largest city, whilst Edinburgh is the national capital. With that being said, Edinburgh is still a large city and comfortably the second largest in Scotland, home to more than 500,000 people. Scottish football has long been a very tightly run duopoly controlled by the two Glasgow giants, Celtic and Rangers. Between them, they have won a total of 225 trophies and 105 league titles. Meanwhile, Scotland's third most successful club, Aberdeen, have won just 19 trophies and only 4 league titles. That's a pretty sizable gulf, and it's worth noting, of course, that Aberdeen aren't based in Scotland's capital either, since, well, they're based in Aberdeen. Scotland's fourth most successful club, Hearts, are based in Edinburgh, along with their rivals Hibernian, but even combined, the two clubs have won just 26 trophies in total, a long way shy of the combined total of 225 won by the two Glasgow clubs. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, even if it wasn't as obscure or challenging as a lot of the other videos that I try to do on the channel. If you are a fan of any of the videos on the channel, then why not subscribe to HITC Sevens, give us a like if you enjoyed this video, and feel free to share your thoughts down below in the comments.